What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day today. We're going to be starting off this video. This is a live stream. If you're watching this after it's published, feel free to use the 1.25x speed in the description below. But we're going to go ahead and get started today. We're going to be looking at price predictions for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and other coins that are really in the market's face right now, and we're really going to dive into more of the actual indicators and what they're showing now to see if we're going to be coming out of this bear trend, especially watching Bitcoin. We're going to be utilizing our trading view chart. If you guys are new here on Snipers Tube, the link is in the description below. You can right click insert indicator. We're going to be utilizing the volume, the 3 moving averages, the RSI, as well as the MACD today. And then we're going to be talking about each one of those indicators. And we'll also talk about a little bit of some changes coming here to Snipers Tube and where we're going to be headed. So let's go ahead and get started. So looking at this chart here, we're going to be referencing a couple different things. For those of you that are new watching this for the first time, we are going to be referencing our Discord quite a bit. The link is actually in the description, or you can copy the link up there at the top here. We're actually live now on 4 different platforms. If you guys go to our Discord, the link is going to pop you into one of these servers. This is an open resource. There's a web version, a mobile version, and a desktop version. We have our trading resources here as well as our whole community. So I look forward to having you guys there. We also have our Patreon we're going to be referring to. The link is in the description for our Patreon. We are changing prices, and that's going to be effective on February 8th. We've had such a high demand with Patreon, and we want to keep some tiers exclusive. As you can see, we have tons of emeralds, tons of sapphires, tons of rubies, and we just weren't expecting that many people to really see it as something of value. And so we are going to be changing prices. But if you guys want the current prices, it is going to be up until February 8th, and then that's when we're going to be changing prices, and then whoever's grandfathered into those prices will be able to keep those prices and not have to ever pay the newer ones. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. I don't want to get a ton of messages later on saying, hey, could I get the old prices? Because we do have to make that change here soon. So other than that, though, let's go ahead and just kind of get started here with our price predictions. You can see Bitcoin here is coming out of its contracting falling wedge here. We'll go ahead and draw this out for you guys. By the way, the 3 moving averages here, the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day moving average are represented with these 3. We've got the volume, the RSI, and the MACD, or the moving average convergence divergence. So if we were to draw out this falling wedge here that is contracting here, you can see we are just now entering back into the wedge, which is a good sign here. I'll actually draw that out a little bit differently for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is really the wedge that we're finally now coming back into, and then we can also see these contracting resistance levels here. If you guys don't know what a falling wedge is, by the way, on our Discord we actually have the falling wedge here. I don't believe we have the contracting one on there, but we do have the most basic form, which is also contracting. A falling wedge will typically see these resistance levels tighten up, but for the most part, sometimes you'll see this break out before the apex is reached. And if you guys don't know what the apex is the end of this falling wedge. So it's this area right here. The closer you can get to that, and the closer you can break that trend, the faster you can come out of this descent. And that's really what we're looking for. We're looking to see Bitcoin break past these resistance lines, these descending resistance lines, to confirm that we are finally over with this bear trend. And we'll kind of zoom in here for a little bit so you guys can have a better view. We'll actually pull up the 30-minute chart here just so you guys can see what's happening overall. We're seeing an ABC correction right now, which is totally fine and healthy, especially after we have this huge bull wick. And this is a very, very strong indicator of a bullish sign. Coming back into this falling wedge was a big deal. That's typically generated from some of those weak sellers that kind of panic sell on the way down. That's where you see these form, and you can actually probably see a wicks here on the 1-day to represent that. Yep, right there. So this is a very bullish wick right here. This wick right here, you see how this green has this long wicks here. That's the panic sellers that are just selling at the end, but those buy orders just don't fulfill to actually create a close-in price, so the body isn't fulfilled there on the 1-day. That's a very bullish sign. You can see it put us right back into this falling wedge. So if we were to pull up that 30-minute once again, I'll show you guys exactly what this is. So the apex, understand the apex is right here. We're approaching the apex, but we're not quite there. So the goal is to get as close to this apex as possible, because we're going to see less dramatic patterns and drops. So what I mean by that is, if you look here, there were some pretty dramatic drops, and they were all created through these head and shoulders. And if you guys look here, if we were to actually give you guys a quick forecast, I'll actually draw them up as price ranges. So you can see there was one large head and shoulder there. There's a fairly minimal head and shoulder there. Head and shoulder there. Very small one right over there. And we may end up forming another small head and shoulder. And if that does happen, what will end up happening to this price level is what you'll see here. If we were to clear this out, I'll go ahead and show you guys. If we see another head and shoulder form, it will be a lot smaller, but they keep getting smaller because sellers run out. There's just not a constant factory of sellers coming into the market, guys. By the way, I see we have a ton of people on right now. We got Paul Little's on, F Google is on, Big A, Kelly is on, Reg SW. Good to have you guys. So we'll take some questions in just a sec from the live audience, but understand that the head and shoulders, they keep getting smaller and smaller. The reversal trends get smaller because less sellers. If you guys look at the MACD, you can even see here the histogram. This is an indicator of less sellers, right? You can see here the histogram continues to subside, and that's a very important indicator, especially when we're seeing some sort of correction like this, which is very healthy. You want to know, when are these sellers going to stop, right? So there was kind of like this fake out right here where the MACD curved, but it didn't curve. But you can see now we're starting to curve. If you guys watched our live stream recently, you can see we talked about this, potentially seeing that curve. We're finally seeing the start to that. So that's a very good thing. That means sellers are reducing. So going back to this 30-minute, just so we can actually put some logic behind these price patterns, I want you guys to have an understanding of why we're seeing what we're seeing. So we'll go ahead and zoom into this. And this is really an important chart because it's depicting the panic sells coming back into this bullish wicks that actually put us back into this falling wedge where we ended up finding some support, which is good. So if we were to draw this out, you can see there was a very clear wave here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was this perfect cycle here, this 5-point cycle, and then if you go here, you can see there's the ABC correction as well. Now we're seeing this A, B, C. So that's very healthy. Now here's what we want to watch. You're trying to see, so following this ABC correction, what you'll typically see is another 5-wave breakout. This would be the ideal situation to see another 1, 2, I'm sorry, let's do the waves here. See another 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this isn't projections, I'm just depicting exactly what can occur. And then seeing that 5th wave break out, seeing that 3rd cycle, that ABC correction wave, finding support up on top of this contracting falling wedge. This breakout would be very healthy, indicating a potential reversal here with the bear trend. Now the other situation is, if this sees ABC and then we end up doing a 5-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but only seeing resistance at the top of the pattern, that would most likely indicate that we're most likely going to see a drop from there, in my opinion, outside of this falling wedge once again. We get out of that falling wedge, pull up the 1 hour here. If we get out of this falling wedge, in my opinion, we're going to see it go even lower. So price levels will most likely come out of this contracting falling wedge, and what we'll see is another drop, seeing lower lows to then come back, do the same exact bullwhick back into the contracting falling wedge, now closer to the apex, which is way healthier, because now if any sort of sell volume comes in, the sellers have weakened, and now you can see this form that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breaking out of that. And that would be the ideal way to come out of this. So let's go ahead and take some questions. Hopefully that did a little bit of teaching along the way. You can also see the RSI is in a perfect mode to see that ABC correction. Bam, back up, in my opinion, based on the 8-hour. MACD starting to form that crossover. You can see that's a little bit of momentum. As long as we can get enough momentum, bam, that pushes the price out right there. So somebody said, do you think LTC will drop below 135 today? I sold at 160. Well, this is what I'll say. You guys are probably asking about altcoins right now. And at the end of the day with these altcoins, I am not putting a position in an altcoin until I get my Bitcoin position fulfilled, because in my opinion, Bitcoin is the most undervalued right now. And it's seen the worst of the worst. You see how we are in this 1 day under that 200-day moving average. RSI is completely sold out. So you pull up a coin like LTC, it just doesn't see, you can't find levels like that. Look at the RSI, right? So I'm looking to get the best possible position. So I'm not the right person to ask that to right now, because I'm not really the one trading those type of coins in this correction. I'm trying to get a really strong position in Bitcoin by dollar cost averaging my way back into Bitcoin. So let's take some cool questions, some smart questions. Somebody says, Starman is going to Mars and we are going to the moon. Somebody says, do you think BTC is going to make an inverse? I just talked about BTC. Somebody says, Discord is good. I like this project. Yes, thank you, Crypto Counseling. Shout out to Crypto Counseling. Somebody says, do you think it will form a double bottom? I think it would most likely break out of this pattern through the contracting falling wedges that we previously talked about. And another big indicator here is this volume. Look at the buy volume here. Huge buy volume. Great indicator. Really good indicator. You can see the last time we saw buy volumes of this level was before this huge run up, and this was right around similar price ranges that were below 7,000. So this was probably around 5,000, 3,000, 4,000. Right around these levels, we saw this huge push of volume that led into this huge run up. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Will we test the lows again? Aaron, I just talked about that, brother. You came a little bit late, man. We just talked about that. But yes, there's a possibility for us to test the lows once again, getting closer to the end of this apex. Bordiger said from Twitch, said Eskedit. That's I don't know if that's English. How does the RSI level look like for Ethereum? People are pretty lazy. They don't even want to just type in a chart and open it up for themselves. So I don't know. Let's look. RSI is at 57 on the 1 day. There you go. We'll look at those. We'll do our charts for Ethereum and Litecoin soon. It was actually the biggest volume candle ever in Bitcoin's history, Pedro Nieves said. There you go. Somebody says it was the biggest. Look at that. It's the biggest piece of buy volume in Bitcoin's history. So the most amount of buys have happened right around this price range of 6,800. Isn't that good? Isn't that good news, guys? That's huge. Thank you for mentioning that. I didn't even think to realize that or actually go in and look at that. But it makes sense because this is where we've had the most buyers and more opportunities to buy. And like we've always talked about, having the most potential for mass adoption. That's the key here, guys. It's having the potential for mass adoption, not necessarily the mass adoption itself. It's the potential for mass adoption, which will lead to true mass adoption. So it's good that this has been, sorry about that noise, by the way. I don't know how to shut that off. But it's good that we're seeing these price levels because as you can see, we had the most amount of buy volume in the history of Bitcoin occur during this correction. So that shows you that people are thinking like I am. And just like one of my friends texted me the other day, my friend Juan, he texted me saying, hey man, looks like Bitcoin's price is low. Look, verbatim, I'll read you the text message right here. If I can actually find it, because it was actually quite, yeah, right here. Cash App is now allowing you to buy and sell Bitcoin. I noticed that the value dropped in price. Do you think it's a good time to buy or that I should even use the Cash App to buy some? I said, I think it's pretty low now. And he ended up buying Bitcoin. I talked about that story. That's good, right? The Cash App is accepting it. Robinhood is coming out with it. They had over, I think now they've hit 1 million new accounts. Very good signs fundamentally for Bitcoin and very good signs analytically and technically for Bitcoin. So you've got two factors playing here and they're both playing to the bullish end. Who watched the what was it, the SEC meeting yesterday? Who saw what they said about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole? Who saw what they said about Tether? Here's what you want me to summarize it for you. we're good. That's basically what the summary is. We're good. Everything is good to go. Hasn't been any formal bans. There wasn't any talk about, you know, regulatory Bitcoin termination. None of that happened. So Matt Wing said I did. Somebody says he doesn't want to do TA. Who, the guy that asked about Ethereum's price level? Somebody says, did you cut your hair? Yes, I cut my hair because of you guys. We hit like 1,000 likes on that video. I ended up cutting my hair because of it. Matter of fact, why don't we do a quick book giveaway? We'll do that in just a sec. Somebody says, hey Naim, could you help me understand what to look out for when using the volume indicator? This is something I really want to start using a lot more in strategies, and I'd love to learn more. The volume is the most basic fundamental indicator in crypto, in fundamentals, in technical analysis, in traditional stocks, in Forex. Anything has volume. In business, right? Businesses have volume, supply and demand, right? It's literally the supply and demand of something. So demand is indicated with green, supply is indicated in both. Understand, this is showing you where the market is at in terms of supply and demand. It's really a demand indicator. It's showing you what the demand is for something. So if people are selling, then that shows you that, okay, the market as a full, there's a lot of sellers in this market. That's why you see this right here was a huge sell, a huge sell wall that was broken for Bitcoin. This was the start to this contracting falling wedge. This was a clear indicator that we're potentially going to see more sellers come in, because this was kind of like where the herd came, right? So that's kind of how you can use the volume. Somebody says, if you hit 500 likes, will you dye your bald head blonde? You guys are insane. You guys are insane. 500 likes? We're at 786 right now. Viewers? Sure. We'll do 500 likes. We're not going to hit 500 likes. Now the likes are coming in. You guys always want to mess with me like that. Well, I ended up not cutting all of it. Like I said, I couldn't because I have some scars, and the sun and my scars don't go well. It'll scar even worse. So I have to keep some hair. So I ended up doing this style. But hopefully, oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. Now we're at 122 likes. Trust me, I can kind of gauge it. I didn't gauge it right before. The reason I ended up having to do this is I didn't gauge it. We had like 1,000 viewers, and I said like 300 likes, and then it ended up going to 300. So I should gauge it better next time. I'm saying 500 right now. I'll do 500 for blonde because we only got 782 viewers. So that means that more than half would have to do it. And I understand markets. That means I also understand the ratios here. So I think I have an advantage. Oh my gosh, we're approaching 200. We're not going to go over 250 though. I don't think we will. Somebody says focus, people. Focus, bro. They have to focus enough just to hit the button. Oh man, good luck with trading if you have to focus on that. Somebody says 1,000 viewers, shave your eyebrows. You guys are insane. My haircut is like yours, bro. Cheers. Somebody says go blonde, dude. Look at those likes moving up. Somebody says LOL, be careful, Naim. This community will make you go blonde. Jared Thompson. I don't know, man. I don't know if we got that. Somebody says your EMA settings are 6, 12, 24. My exponential moving average, is that what you're talking about? My EMA settings? I'll pull up my EMA. So the moving average exponential, or the EMA, it's a great indicator as well. But my input's at 9 for my EMA. But if you're talking about my moving averages, I've got the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day moving averages. And then if you were to look at my settings, that's my settings. My RSI settings right here, length is at 14, and my MACD, it's 12 and 26 with signal smoothing at 9. So I guess hopefully that was helping you. Somebody says you look good blonde. Interesting. Somebody says hit your button 500. Somebody said I'm putting in all my money in Tether. I heard it's going to get to $1.01. Portigar. Now, could you go over Trade Alert and talk about the charts and how to handle them? Thank you. Max G. Great question. Yes. So for those of you that are on our Trade Alerts, I'll show you exactly how to read them in the most efficient possible way. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Somebody said, hey, what's up, Paul? Raphael said, like for blonde hair. Jeff said, thank you for having a good sense of humor, Naeem. Thank you, Jeff. Somebody says, are your prices changing? Yes, the prices are changing for Patreon. But if you are Patreon already, you will be grandfathered into your current price. I'm not going to change it for everyone. We just had a high demand, so we really had to increase the prices because, like, for example, our Ruby and above night owls, we have over 100 rubies right now. I wanted that to just be, and this is online, so we have, like, I think over 300-400 rubies in general, over 400 I think, and you know, it's hard to be able to do private night owls like that with 500 people on Ruby. So this is going to really help us kind of slow down the pace of newer rubies, newer emeralds, because the prices are obviously going to be higher. But anybody that's a Patreon now and then up until February 8th will be grandfathered into those prices, and those will never change. So that will stay the same as long as you don't edit your pledge. So you have to pick what you want now. Even our diamond one, you know, I was doing one-on-ones, and we started getting a ton of diamonds, and I was like, man, I can't do tons of one-on-ones. So I have to up that to a point where it would be more exclusive. And it's just part of the game, right? I mean, we're growing such a great community here. It's all free here on Discord, so we have tons of people there. So, you know, that's pretty much the gist of it. So basically, if you click become a patron, the link is always pretty much in all of the descriptions. If you're on Twitch or something, Twitter, you can look at the link up there. But these are currently what the prices are at, and they're not going to change if you do get them now, but on February 8th they will change. So I just want to address that. I don't want to get people, you know, coming to me saying, hey, you know, I didn't get it. But let's talk about the trade alerts itself. So today we posted a couple trade alerts. We actually, why don't we do one that we pretty much posted yesterday and actually went through. So it was Bitcoin. So we had the Bitcoin trade alert here. I saw the wicks, the bullish wicks come out. I saw the wave starting to form. I looked over different alerts, and I made the decision to send this one out. So I actually sent an updated one. I'm still kind of tweaking the way I'm going to be using these. But here's an example of our trade alerts. So this one right here was where we were about to cross over here in MACD. So we can see the histogram. We crossed over, and this was after the fact. Beforehand, when we initially posted this, it was actually about to cross over. So you can see right here, I realized that this was coming over the histogram, which is a great indicator that the MACD is showing bullish reversal trends. And when that crossed over, it was great. RSI went up, more buyers and sellers, so there was higher buy volume here. So the stop loss zone is pretty much where you want to set up indicators to potentially almost like an emergency level where you want to get out of your position for the most part without taking too hard of a loss. So the easiest way to explain that is, for example, let's say you're putting in a position at Bitcoin, and let's say Bitcoin's price was extremely high, around these higher highs, and you were playing any position, whether it was a swing trade, a day trade, or a long-term, you know, position at these higher prices. Your stop losses are going to prevent you from actually realizing these huge losses rather than just realizing a minute loss. So part of this game, you know, you guys hear this all the time, it takes money to make money. Well, it takes some money to really get in a great position and then see those breakouts. So what I mean by that is it's not always, you know, lolly happy land in trading where you're constantly making good decisions. There are going to be some bad decisions that are made, because understand the market is like a psychological market. You know, like we can't determine how far close to this apex we're going to finally see this trend reversal. It could be here, but it could be down there. So understanding that when making your trades, having stop losses set up is important. Now, here's the problem with this market. Being that it's so volatile and there's so much money coming in and out, there's a lot of wicks that are generated. So if you pull up an 8-hour, you can see all of these different wicks that come out of these prices, and these wicks can sometimes trigger your stop losses. Like this one right here could have triggered a stop loss even though it was still bouncing on top of the contracting falling wedge. So this right here is a wicks. So what I would do for the most part is, if you're looking at these trade alerts and you have a stop loss zone, I would set up alerts. That's typically what I like to do with these prices. So this one right here, you can see it's pretty much right around that 56, right above 5,600. So this is probably like right around, in terms of US value, let's say 5,700. It's pretty much right under where we found support, and we saw that bullish wicks come out of nowhere. So you can see I would have probably set up my stop loss right here. And when it says a stop loss zone, it's how much risk you want to take. So how much risk do you want to take? Because this stop loss zone that was generated was all based upon the potential for it to go to these lower lows, which actually the next low is at 3,000. So the stop loss would be anywhere between that. And that's to be able to realize your losses and then go ahead and reposition yourself to potentially gain and have realized profits rather than realized losses. So that's really what the stop loss is for. The buy zone typically is not going to be this large, but because Bitcoin has been in these lower price levels, I was pretty confident in saying that you could buy at these higher highs. If you would have actually traded this today, this actually ended up going up. If you pull up the 1 hour, I mean, this trade alert was sent a while ago. Now we're seeing the ABC correction, which is totally healthy. But what's going to really determine things is when this starts to go back up, which it will, is it going to break through this resistance level, or is it going to find resistance there? Because if it finds resistance, I'm expecting it to see some lower lows. So we drew this out a little bit earlier in the stream, but you're seeing an ABC correction here. And if you want me to draw out the ABC correction, I can actually show you exactly how that looks on the 30 minutes. So right here, we saw five wave pattern here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, let's draw this out a little bit clearer for you guys. I want to make this a little bit clearer so you guys can learn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have the ABC correction. 1 or A, B, C, and then that right now is going to turn into most likely another 5-point pattern. So we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, hopefully break through this, 5, break through, and this isn't projections, but I'm just showing you a idea of what can happen. If we can break through this, that would be the most ideal route. But if this fifth wave ends up finding resistance at the top of this contracting falling wedge, which basically is the same thing, but it's gonna find resistance up there, then I think from there we'll end up going down. Sorry, this is lagging. Let me zoom out here. So this would most likely bounce, and then I think we'll find some lower lows closer to that apex, and then once we go back down, I think we'll start to head right back into the apex and seeing another bullish wick coming into that. So once again, the buy zone here is where you want to place your buy order. So there were some other trading alerts that were posted that, for example here, buy zones were a lot more constricted. And that's because you want to make sure that you let the prices go to this level. So if it's in this level, it's not necessarily saying that it's the time to buy, but the potential buy zone is really in this level where we're going to see a potential breakout coming out of this flag pattern that's forming. If you guys don't know how a flag pattern forms, and I used to actually post which pattern it is, but I figured people just wanted the trade alerts, but this is a flag where you find some resistance, support, resistance, support. It forms a rectangle. That's really the indicator of the flag. If you guys are on our Discord, the flag stock chart pattern forms through a rectangle. So that's kind of like what you're primarily looking for. So hopefully that helps out. Somebody said, what did they say? Head and shoulders. Yes, there were multiple head and shoulders in this correction. And then your take profit zone, same thing with stop loss zone. It's all about risk, so you can take profit at any level. So that's kind of how our trading alerts are set up. Hopefully that helped out, man. If you want a more deeper analysis, you know, we can always do something at our night owl. We're having a Ruby and above night owl, or actually it's a day owl. It's a little bit different streaming in the day than it is at night. But we're going to be doing a Ruby and above day owl today. That will be under the Patreon exclusive under Ruby Plus. So can't wait to see you guys out there tonight. You can see I'm getting way more notifications in the daytime than I do at night. So let's go ahead and see what else we got. Somebody says day owl. Somebody says, are Ruby prices changing? Yes, the Ruby prices are also going to change. But remember, if you get into our subscriptions before February 8th, you will keep the normal pricing. So it's going to go quite significantly higher but it was already pretty low. Somebody says smart cash. What you think? I have not heard much about smart cash. Sorry. Somebody says, like the video, guys. We're at 310. We're not going to hit 500. Trust me. Somebody says, Naeem, a quick question. Since Bitcoin goes up, assuming it does, is it wise to buy altcoin now or no point? I'm waiting to put my altcoin positions because I feel like Bitcoin will find more strengths with its upside rather than seeing, because understand this is probably the most beat down coin right now out of every other coin. And a clear indicator of that is looking at the averages. And moving averages are great indicators. It's just think about it. It's an average, right? So it's like almost like a test, you know, like what is the, you guys probably all attended, you know, middle school or high school. So maybe some of you guys dropped out of high school. Maybe, I'm sure some of you guys have been to college. Maybe some of you guys dropped out of college. For the most part, we've been in some sort of educational system, right? And there's always averages. So let's say a teacher gives you a test and everybody takes the test and the average is an 89. Well, Bitcoin is like at a 60 right now, while other coins are at like a 75 or maybe a 74. And that's what the average is. It's literally, we're so below the average that we have a bigger chance of coming closer to the average, if that makes sense. So here's an idea of that. So when you look at the 50-day, 100-day, and the 200-day, pull up any other coin like ETH, BTC, and you can see we're above the moving average. So this is a 90 or a 95 right now. So it has a potential to go higher, of course, but the moving average will also follow along with it, depending on how dramatic it is. So if it stays consistent, you'll start to see this kind of level out. So that's why the moving averages are clear indicators. They're really good indicators, in my opinion. Somebody said, Naeem, really, guys, I was a Ruby player. Naeem really works hard to get you good quality trade alerts. His live feeds are one of the best on YouTube at the moment. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, man. Somebody says, people are trying to get people to smash that like button. You guys are insane. That's funny. Somebody said, the ETH price is almost a mirror of the BTC price. Any guess why? Well, Bitcoin really influences the market quite a bit. I mean, it's hard to get away from that. If you want, we'll pull up the ETH chart and just kind of leave that there while we're taking these questions. But we'll kind of do a quick analysis of ETH in just a sec as well. Maybe that can help out. Somebody says, what music is that in the background? Yes, shout out to our awesome music artist. His name is Justin Rogers. I'll actually have his link in the description below. I'll actually post that there right now for you guys. So definitely check him out. Awesome music artist, awesome music, and he's really good at mixing. So yeah, I'll put his website down there in the description. And you guys can check Justin Rogers out. Somebody says, what kind of question do you think that we should be asking ourselves as traders? Chris Wiz. I would ask yourself, how do you want your portfolio diversified this upcoming round? I would be asking that right now. Being the fact that this could potentially be the final bullish wick for Bitcoin before we start seeing an upward trend out of this bear trend. Because understand, we're not in a bear market, but we are in a bear trend right now. There's a difference there. So I would say you guys have to start preparing yourselves to really get your positions in and lock them in tight. So what I mean by that is know what altcoins you guys want. Let's say you know the technology, and I would base it upon fundamentals, right? I'm really taking a different approach, guys. The approach that I took in 2017 is very different than 2018. I'll be honest, in 2017, I was still very involved in day trading. I was very involved with these quick profits, and typically, you know, that's what you guys have learned a lot from. It's my day trading experience, right? Coming from traditional markets, I've been able to understand the analytics, and having mentors that have really guided me in this path. Understanding the technicals have become pretty easy, but coming into this new year with these new laws, especially with taxes here in the United States, I'm really taking a different approach in terms of finding the coins that I really want to put a large amount in and just hold it there, but getting it at a good price. And I think this is the perfect time to start planning for that. Start planning your portfolio. It's like the example of the guy with the axe that's cutting trees, right? The guy that has the sharper axe is the one that's going to cut more trees, but you have to prepare to sharpen your axe before you cut your trees, rather than just start cutting your trees with a dull axe. So I want you guys to start preparing your axe, start sharpening it, start being ready for the next uptrend here in the market, because the market is going to go in a down and uptrend, especially with the amount of volatility and the amount of, you guys saw this with Bitcoin. We had the most amount of buy volume in history here with Bitcoin, and this was done on February 6th. So for me, that's a positive sign. And I also showed you guys, you know, my friend just texted me the other day saying, hey man, you know, looks like prices are low. Should I buy some? So people are buying. That's very true right now. sellers are receding and subsiding. That is also very true based upon volume metrics, based upon the MACD levels, based upon the histogram like we showed earlier. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening here. Let's go ahead and pop this indicator out. See what's happening with this. Let's insert the MACD here. See where the MACD is at. Bam. So looking at ETH BTC, let's go ahead and somebody says completely agree. Yes. Somebody says if you hit 40,000 subscribers, will you dye your hair blonde? Sure. If we hit 40,000 subscribers, that will also trigger me to dye my hair blonde, because obviously you see it's cut right now because of you guys. On our last stream, I think I made a bad judgment and I said 300 likes and we ended up cutting, you know, what you guys won the bet. So I'm a man of my word. But yeah, if we hit 40,000, I don't mind doing that. We're at 39,652. Oh no, I'm sorry, now it jumped up. So you guys only want to take action when there's like a stake in the game. You guys are ridiculous. Man. We're blowing up our phone right now. Tons of new pledges here on Patreon. Yeah, that is awesome, guys. Tons of new rubies. Shout out to some of these new rubies, by the way. I want to give a couple of shout outs. Almadi Al Nazi. Shout out to Almadi. Shout out to Roger Durbin. Shout out to Sophia. New Patreon. Shout out to Zane. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Alexander, Kareem, Chris, Rebel, Max Harris, Brian St. Clair. All these new rubies. Wow. Vaclav. Yes. Shout out to all those new rubies. We're having a lot more than usual because we're changing the prices on February 8th. So that's why there were so many just now. And that's awesome. You guys are making your moves. Somebody says, Hanny, I heard blondes. I heard blondes have more fun anyways. Somebody says, haircut makes you look younger and more handsome, bro. Thank you, Frank McLovin. I don't know how I feel about getting that from a guy named Frank. I'm just kidding. Not that your name is bad. It's a guy is what I'm saying. But anyways. Somebody says, this is Almadi. Nice. Awesome, man. Well, shout out to you. Somebody says, your Discord link is expired. No, it's not, is it? Do I got to reformat that again? Probably do. Yeah, well, no, it looks good. I don't know why it's saying that. It should be fine. If you click the link in the description, that should be fine. Which Discord link is expired? Is it the one in... I don't know which one you're talking about, Cammy. Let me know. Somebody says, can you please go through the LTC chart? Yes, we will do LTC, Ethereum, as well as Ripple and Stellar on this video. Somebody says, I can't find XRP/odd for BTC marketers. Interesting. Somebody says, come in the voice chat. Yes. Yeah, if you were banned from our Discord, you have to send me a message on Twitter as to what your Discord name is, and you know, have to agree to following the rules, and you'll be on a watch list for your next couple of weeks in there. But yeah, if you're banned, just send me a message on Twitter and I can handle that. Just make sure you're not promoting, you're not doing anything like that, because we have a very strict rule system here. We want to make sure that everything is clean. We don't want any sort of mishaps on our Discord. It's a very professional environment, so we just want to make sure people are doing what they need to do. So let's go ahead and see what else is going on here. So it says, LTC is my personal favorite crypto. I think it's a real world utility. Yes. So let's look at Ethereum's chart here, see what's happening. Looks like we bounced off of this clear support level of around 2.4 million Satoshis. Starting to come up, seeing this uptrend starting to form. You can find these really clear support levels here. Might be coming back down towards this. I would also match up with this 50-day moving average, which is really good. I like when the 50-day moving average is along with the support levels. Those are really good signs of some clear stability, especially being the fact that we haven't seen too much parabolic run-ups here for Ethereum, but it's really been gradual, and I think that's also a good sign. I have nothing against Ethereum right now, but I do want to eventually get a very strong position in this, but I first want to get my Satoshis up. The reason I say that, you can see as Bitcoin starts to rise, you're going to start to see Satoshi levels dropping here for coins like Ethereum, and that's only because it's hard for these coins to keep up with Bitcoin. So you can see how we're kind of coming back to this ascending support line that was forming initially. We kind of went away from that. We saw a little bit of exuberance, and I think now we're going to start to correct back around that realm. So as long as you're within this support level, I think that would probably be the best buying point for Ethereum, because I don't see Ethereum getting any major drop soon. Fundamentally, it's it's a very strong coin. So in my opinion, I think we're going to see prices follow the support level and kind of bounce on top of it, acting as a ground for Ethereum. And I think that would be really good. What's also interesting is if you pull up this one-day chart, you can see these moving averages are starting to finally go up. They've been pretty low for quite a while. At one point, they saw this uptrend, but then it crashed. Now we're starting to see more strength. So I think looking at the one day, you can also draw these really clear resistance lines for Ethereum that could potentially be hit like this around 14 million Satoshis. We've also got this one right here, right around, looks to be, it's not even pulling up for some reason. Let me shut off my trackpad and see if that works. Bam. That's going to be right around another 14 million. And found some strong support resistance here twice, which is a great indicator, around 12 million Satoshis it looks like. Let's go ahead and draw that out here. And you can see how we hit that twice. Once here and once here, we hit resistance there. So I think as we start ascending, if we can start working our way towards this resistance level, it's going to be the healthiest thing here for Ethereum. As you can see, we clearly broke out of these previous resistance levels, kind of soaring through with RSI through the roof, kind of forming a double top there with MACD pointing down. I think we can definitely get some better Ethereum positions if we just kind of wait and be a little bit more patient as this RSI starts to curve down. If you actually pull this up, you can also see with Ethereum, you can see sellers are starting to increase. So that's why you see right here with the histogram, this is increasing compared to what we previously initially saw. We already saw that buy volume come in. You saw the buyers increase, and now we're starting to see more and more sellers. So I would be a little bit careful here. Ideally, you want to get a position when the MACD is right here under the histogram at these lower lows, seeing it stretching down. This probably would have been the best point of purchase, in my opinion. So, and that's also where you saw this huge dip. Which is a moving average, as somebody said. The moving averages are actually right here. So I'll actually make these a little bit clearer for you. We'll go to our next chart here. I hope that gave you guys a pretty good depiction of how to play Litecoin, Ethereum. But this is Litecoin. I'll actually make these a little bit darker for you. Here are the three moving averages. You've got the 50, the 100, and the 200 day. So the 50, 100, 200 day. And then that's a little bit bolder for you. You can see we bounced right off of that 100 day. Very good indicators here. I would say that the moving averages are very important, especially if you guys are new to trading. It's good to know those averages and see them as potential support and resistance levels, which typically are supports. Somebody says so many people should be selling than buying again under 6,000. Felipe Flores. I guess so. Somebody says, like the live stream. Thank you, Dante. Appreciate that, man. Somebody says, you can never predict magnitude or of loss or growth. Listen to no one. That's funny. Somebody says, should we wait for a dip or buy now? If you guys are on our trading alerts, you guys know exactly what my stance is on that. Are you related to Eugene Levy? Got the same eyebrows and nose. Thanks for all the info. Thanks. Peace, love, meth. Funny name. Dante said like. Yeah. Oh, everybody's trying to get to 500 likes because I said I'd dye my hair blonde if we hit 500. Well, somebody said that. I just agreed to it because I don't think that could happen with less than 1,000 viewers. Typically, you'll see a half ratio. I know how to play my cards, guys. Don't underestimate my knowledge here. Now the likes are going up. Now we're reaching about 400. I don't think we'll hit 500 though. It's either that or 40,000 subs, whichever is first. But I don't think that's going to happen either because we're at 39,676. But actually now the subs are increasing too. Okay, that's funny. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm going to stop talking about it. Somebody says, hey bro, BTC is in a low point so far right now. Should I make an entry or just wait one more hour to see how the trend will stand? It's really up to you, Crypto Life. I mean, we just entered the contracting falling wedge once again, and as we enter that, we're going to see a couple ABC corrections. But if we start to break out past that resistance, that would be the most ideal point for Bitcoin. If we don't, we're probably going to correct lower and then see it getting closer to the apex as we talked about before. So that was something we drew out. Somebody says, what's up from London? Mohammed Gukinia. Good to have you from London. Somebody says, it's all fun and games until one day someone buys likes. Frank McLovin. Yeah, that's not going to happen, hopefully. Mario says, you watch, Naeem. 500 is coming. Somebody says, you'll be saying I'll do my next live stream naked for 500 likes. No, I wouldn't say that, Philip. You guys are crazy. Nina Ling, I introduced my mom to your videos. She said she learned more in the first 5 minutes than in the hours she spent reading. Wow. That is awesome, Nina. Thank you for sharing that. If you don't mind sharing that actually on our Discord, we have a success stories area here. That's an awesome story. I want to keep that forever. So if you go to crypto success stories, you can see all these success stories here. Tons of people succeeding, tons of people getting information from our Discord. A lot of our Patreons are here. And look at this guy. He's got the Carlos guy on his emoji. But that's an awesome story. Wow. Somebody said, everyone wishes they bought in cheap, but when the prices go down, everyone runs scared. I like that, the Turk. I agree, man. Somebody says, manipulating the markets. Somebody says, what do you say about the drama from yesterday? I don't know what drama you're talking about, Capricus. I wonder what drama you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody says, 70 more likes, haha. I don't think we had drama. I think it was really good. The SEC meeting went really good. Everything went very good in my opinion. And I think the government is really starting to adopt Bitcoin as, you know, or at least cryptocurrencies as something that's going to be here to stay. And I think that's the most important thing that I got from, you know, that meeting and further meetings. So we got a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see what the super chat has to say. Somebody said in the super chat, what do you think of self-directed checkbook IRAs to buy crypto? Been told time to get out of stocks. I can't give you specific financial advice on that, Spiffy Tastic. Once again, none of this is financial advice. You guys have to seek your own financial advisor. But from my experience in trading and my experience in the markets, the traditional markets will see a correction every 7 to 10 years. And this is actually by Ray Dalio. If you guys don't know who Ray Dalio is, he runs one of the largest hedge funds in the world called Bridgewater and does over $175 billion, or it manages $175 billion in assets. And I'll pull up the stock market here compared to the NASDAQ specifically, which is primarily consisting of, you know, these technology companies. And I'm going to pull that up compared to Bitcoin so you can see a little bit of what's happening. But the stock market is definitely seeing some sort of correction. It had one of the worst days in over, I think, a decade, or no, I think it was since 2008. It was over 2 years, and now it's since over 2008 because it got worse. And you know, if you pull up the 1 week here for the stocks, I mean, this is a really good, by the way, I know we're talking crypto here, but this is important because this is a historic market, and history is a good depictor of the future. It's not the only predictor. And once again, technical analysis doesn't always work. It's a lot about fundamentals, but technical analysis is psychological analysis. It's a risk and reward pattern. It's how humans react versus, you know, how humans take action based upon where prices are at. So if you look at this 1 week chart of the NASDAQ composite, you can see this was the .com bubble. This was 2008. Very clear portions of this graph. And you can see right now with where we're at, we've been in this bull trend for almost 10 years now. We're finally seeing this correction, most likely. And you can see how the RSI just dropped in this 1 week. And I think we are going to be correcting here in the stock market. Typically, we found some support on this 50-day, bouncing on this 50-day. That's why that moving average is really important. We found a little bit of a drop here, went down to the 100-day. But now we're starting to see this uptrend. You know, this was almost like that fake correction. But I think we're very soon going to see some significant correction here with the NASDAQ and, you know, the whole stock market as a whole. And I think that's also going to drive prices for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies higher, because traditionally what happens in the stock market is if you're expecting a correction, you're now looking for a hedge against that. So if you read Ray Dalio's book, Principles, I highly recommend this book. It's actually in our recommended book list. If you go to Helpful Reads, highly recommend you guys read this book, Principles by Ray Dalio. But it talks about what happens in any correction. If you're expecting it or anticipating it, you want to find a hedge. And a hedge is an asset or a commodity or something you can put your money in to where it acts in an inverse manner compared to the current asset or commodity that you're hedging against, which in this case, if you're hedging in the stock market, you're hedging against the stock market. You want to hedge with something else. So traditionally, sometimes people go to gold, right? Some people go to real estate. They hedge with land. Somebody I know, he hedges his crypto with mining, right? So I think people will hedge now that there's a crypto market. Think about it. There wasn't a crypto market in 2008. Now, theoretically, there was because Bitcoin was created at the time, but it wasn't adopted. Now we have this market that's created and established at the perfect time, in my opinion, because this is going to be the perfect hedge, in my opinion, towards traditional markets. Because for a traditional trader like me that comes from traditional trading, I was attracted because of the volatility of this market. And I think more of these traders are going to be attracted to the volatility. But understand, most of the stock market trades are autonomous. Most of the stock market trades are, you know, trading bots and algorithmic traders. So very, very, very good question, though. Somebody says Coinbase making it hard to buy from UK. Somebody says maybe crude oil or natural resources or minery. Those are also other hedges. Shout out to all our new rubies. Andrew Nice, Javier Barreras, Wendy Murray, Brian Anderson, Omar Chichao, Brandon Stacy. Thank you, Brandon. Eric Crenshaw, new emeralds. Katie Lovett. What's up, Katie? Join the squad. Good to have you, Kate. One of our mods. Somebody says, can you explain the difference between RSI and Williams percent? I've talked so much about the RSI, and I've talked about, I mean, we can compare it to 100 different things. That's stuff that I do really on my one-on-ones. I actually have one coming up, so we're going to have to end this soon. I have a diamond one-on-one soon at 4, yes. Somebody says, even 40,000 subs thinking it's a better stake for learning experience. Yeah, if we hit 40,000, I'll dye my hair blonde. That's the deal. Somebody says, shave it all. I can't shave my whole head because I have scars, and the sun will make the scars worse. And I don't want that to happen, so now all the subs are just soaring. Every time I say that, I'm like, I'm going to do this if this happens because I agree to it. People will take action. I'm going to be signing up for Ruby tomorrow, buddy. Awesome, New York. Yes. Yeah, prices are changing, guys. I don't want anybody coming to me saying, hey, I didn't know prices were changing. I am going to have to increase them because of the fact that we're having so much demand. You can see we have tons of sapphire, emeralds, rubies, and I was trying to keep this more exclusive because we had a ton of golds, but now we have tons and tons of gold, tons of rubies. So I am going to be changing these on February 8th, which is tomorrow. And I don't want too many people coming in. So now I've actually, if you read them, they're called grandfathered. So you can see grandfathered sapphire, grandfathered ruby, because these prices are all going to change. These prices were actually made really early on, what we started with, and we've seen so much success with these alerts and stuff. So just so you guys are aware of that, I don't want too many people getting mad. Somebody says, shave your eyebrows. You guys are crazy. Personal story, how did the scars happen? Oh man, one of the scars actually was from me walking into a door. One of them was from, I got a scar. I got tons of scars. I got one falling off of like an ATV, just going at it. Somebody says, thanks for doing this live stuff. Thank you, man. Any TRX update? Not that I know, but I'll tell you what, I don't think Jason's son is going to give his ego up to see that coin go to wither. I think he has too much of an ego to let it go down. But obviously price levels are all-time, not all-time lows, but they're really low lows compared to that huge run-up we saw. And TRX is going to have to work its way up, you know. I'm not going to do too many technical analysis on the smaller, sorry about that. I'm not going to do too many technical analysis on the smaller coins right now just because I don't see the reasoning. But if you guys are wondering what's happening with Bitcoin's price, don't be too worried here. We're still within the contracting falling wedge. And we're just seeing an ABC correction, which is normal once we see this 5-wave run up. So understand this is completely healthy, what we're seeing right now. For those of you that are just tuning in, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ABC correction here. All technically backed here. A, B, C. So this is most likely going to go down. We'll most likely find support right along this contracting falling wedge. We'll see another 5-wave pattern, probably another ABC correction, and then another 5-wave pattern to determine whether or not we're going to break out of this or find resistance and then potentially fall back out of it, seeing lower lows and then going back towards this apex, because that's the goal, is to get as close to this apex as possible, because as we do, we'll find more strength and we'll find less sellers. But you can see, if we're looking at sell volume, if you pull up the 1 day based on the histogram, this is the MACD indicator, guys. It stands for the moving average convergence divergence. If you're on TradingView, right click, insert indicator. It's a great indicator to use. It's right here, MACD. So when you pull this up, if you can see this histogram, this is showing you the amount of sellers. It's definitely decreasing here, and it's getting less and less dramatic, which is good. And then if you look here, sorry for the lag, that you've got the actual MACD, the fast length, starting to curve finally. You can see it curved right there, and that curve is going to be an indicator of a pullback. It's like a rubber band. When you stretch it, it'll contract back. So let's go ahead and take more questions really quick, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next chart here, which would be Litecoin. Let's go ahead and pull up the 1 day first. Somebody says, first time here. This is so interesting, bro. From London. I should be asleep. Ben Fox. Good to have you, Ben. Shout out to Ben. Robert Hoylrock said, love this live update. Greets from Holland. What up, Holland? Good to have you. You got any questions, Ben? Anything, man? You're new. Hopefully I see it. Somebody says, hey, Ben, you know what you should do, man? If you're new here, you want to really change your life, dude, this will blow your mind. If you have any sort of like vague interest on crypto and you want to be educated at the highest degree for free, click this Discord link in the description. Discord is an app. It's mainly made for gamers, but I've actually transitioned this to a whole community. I'm pretty impressed. We actually hit over 20,000 members, Ben. But if you get on here, man, you can join in on one of these live chats, especially since you're new. Highly recommend it. We got people here 24/7 from Holland, from London, from Australia, from Iraq, everywhere, from the United States. But if you click here, you can see people are always in here. People are chatting. This is actually a trading chat where people are calling out trades, so it's a little bit more quiet. And then as soon as trades come in, they're called immediately. So highly recommend coming on here. If you go to margin trading, you can see all these different charts people are posting. I wouldn't get into margin trading if you're new, because there's a lot more leverage. You can lose a lot more, but you can also gain a lot more. But there's different places, like this guy's an Ichimoku Cloud Master, Tensor Tom. We got a swing trading chat here, so this will really help educate yourself. And then what I would say is just stay in some of these chats, and you'll learn a lot. If you go to voice channels, we even got one here for Crypto Voice, and these are constantly running. So not too much.
Really don't see us go much higher than right now, like maybe $100, but
seems like everybody's asleep. So he says, hi from Trinidad and Tobago. Your channel looks great so far. Thank you, Ajari. So he says, Poland, watching on Discord, loving the live stream. Awesome. But yeah, guys, if you're lazy, you know, just click the Discord link. There's a mobile app, there's a web version, there's a desktop version. Either way, you guys are going to get tons of knowledge from Discord. Highly recommend it. So it says, Discord channels are not financial advice. No, they're not. Somebody says, thoughts on Icon. Good day from Portugal, my friend. Good to have you from Portugal. Somebody says, if I join Patreon today as a new subscriber, will the old price stick if I keep my monthly payments? Yes, Waleed. So yes, we're changing our Patreon prices, guys. So this is where we do our trade alerts, and we are changing these prices effective tomorrow. But if you do get current prices, you do have the ability to keep those grandfather prices. It's kind of like if you had a phone plan and you kept that phone plan, that's what you'll do. And then this is kind of how the trading alerts will look. So you'll get podcasts for certain, like this is a podcast.
The information from Naeem and any other Snipers Tube affiliate today and this morning.
And this is a mobile app. So download the mobile app and then you get push notifications. But this is kind of how the trading alerts look. So I'll post the coin here. I'll tell you take profit, buy zone, stop loss zone, a little bit of why I'm calling out this trade. So this is going to be changing in prices. So whoever has it currently will be able to keep their prices. So you have to be able to pick whatever level you want now so that when we change the prices, you can be grandfathered into that. So I really don't want to have too many people get mad because they didn't get the chance to get the prices that they need or want, because we just have had such a huge influx of people that we have to raise them because we need these to be more exclusive, especially like these higher tiers, like the emeralds and the sapphires and the diamonds. We just can't have hundreds of people in these tiers because they just can't fulfill 100 one-on-ones, right, or something of that nature. So hopefully that's okay. Somebody says from Canada. Now everybody's just shouting out their places now. Somebody says 500 likes, I gotta go blonde. Well, it is what it is. I can't promise that's gonna be tomorrow, but we will have to do that then. Man, oh man. Hey Siri, remind me to go blonde tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. maybe.
Creating a reminder. Okay, I added go blonde to your reminders for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.
Well, what we're gonna do from now, guys, we're gonna head over to our Ruby Night Owl. For those of you Rubies, we're going to be extending this live stream a little bit. It's going to be under Patreon exclusive, Ruby and above. So I know we have tons of Rubies now. We have over 100 online, and then we have tons of these higher tiers. If you guys want to come into our Night Owl, it's going to be in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, Night Owl, or actually it's called a Day Owl because we're doing this in a day, then you guys can actually chat around the Discord for those of you that aren't Rubies. But we are going to be heading over there right after this. It's going to be under Patreon exclusive Ruby Plus. You guys can actually chat with me, plug your microphone in, and then we'll have other people in that chat as well. We're going to be talking about some new things, and as well as the future of Snipers Tube, where things are headed, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions. We haven't had a chance to get together in quite a while. But let's look at Litecoin's chart really quick. You can see we're finding some clear support levels right around these. Why is my chart? So support levels right around 1.4 million satoshis. Did we just do this chart? I hope we didn't, right? No. So resistance at 20 million satoshis, support right around 14 million, and that's going to be drawn out within this channel, and this is going to be on the 1 day. So let's get a little bit of a closer perspective. Sorry, this is lagging for some reason. Let me see if I can use my trackpad. No. All right, let's go ahead and expand this out a little bit. That should be better. I don't know why this is lagging. Let's zoom into a 3-hour chart and see if this is going to be better. We can draw out some more precise levels. Okay, that should be better. So we're forming a little bit of support here right around, now it's 1.3 million satoshis, 1.39 million. We're seeing this upward trend now. Saw this run up, a little bit of a channel forming there. Looks like we're about to go right back down, obviously compared to this RSI and this MACD pointed straight down. But is that going to really go down too far? I don't really think so. I think what we're seeing here with Litecoin is a little bit of some strength because we're at these higher highs. Understand when Litecoin was at this price range, which in US dollars is probably like around 100 to 150, Bitcoin was really high. And when Bitcoin was around the price range that it's at now, like 7,000 or 8,000, Litecoin's price was probably around $40 or $50. So the fact that Litecoin has been able to maintain these higher Satoshi values, in my opinion, is fairly stout. And what my prediction is for most altcoins in this market is, as this market starts to correct, at least Bitcoin itself, breaking through that contracting falling wedge, coming out of the price zone, coming out of that correction zone and the bear trend, I think all these altcoins are also going to see some upside, being that they were able to maintain prices as Bitcoin was going down. That's typically an indicator that when something is going up, if it was finding strength when the hedge against it was going down, then that typically means you'll also see price levels increase. Now, does that mean that Satoshi values are going to increase? No, because Satoshi values are not based upon the USD valuation. That's based upon Bitcoin's valuation, right? So in my opinion, based on this chart, you need to give this a little bit more time to mature. There hasn't been much price action. As you can see, it's finding a little bit of stability around here. But as this starts to mature, I think the main coin to watch within Litecoin's potential in the future is going to be Bitcoin, because it's going to be hard for it to break past these resistance levels, in my opinion. You can see we found resistance here. We tested it once, twice, 3 times. So that's what I would say for Litecoin. Somebody says there's no point in selling if you're going to buy more. Yeah, it depends, unless you're rebalancing. That's the other scenario that's potentially going to occur here. Let's pull up XRP BTC here and look at Ripple's price. You can see we are closing in on that downward descending triangle. If we were to draw this out, you can see here You've got some clear support here forming. You've got these descending resistance levels. Finally completing that. I would actually draw this out a little bit more accurately using these resistance lines that we're forming. And as you can see, we're forming that descending triangle. If you guys don't know how a descending triangle looks, if you're on our Discord, it's not just a community. You can actually go to tools here, Trading 101, and then on our Discord, there's a descending triangle showing you how these clear support levels are formed, where they're horizontal, and these descending resistance levels are what form a descending triangle. That's coming from an uptrend. So you're descending down, you're finding support, you're bouncing up, finding support. So it's different from an ABC correction, in which you're not going below, you're staying at stable support lines, but your resistance levels continue to bring your price levels down, and that's almost like pressure acting on top of the prices, bringing it down, which eventually you see that drop and consolidation, which we'll potentially see here with Ripple, which I wouldn't be surprised to see, just based on the fundamentals as well. If you guys heard, they had a meeting, I think it was like a live meeting recently, and there's just a couple things about Ripple that don't make me as optimistic about it as other coins. Somebody says, hopefully Bitcoin goes up hard around Chinese New Year. That's good. It's always good to stay positive like that. You can get rid of the lags if you click on the magnet on the left. Thank you, brother. That's why. Oh, I didn't know that got clicked. Oh, none of these were supposed to get clicked. There you go. Thank you, brother. Let me get this out of the way. George Kiwo, shout out. 0 fees on Robinhood app for crypto. Yes, 0 fees. The fact is, some days people sell more and some days people buy more. Yes. So I actually have a meeting, guys. I have a meeting right now. I have a diamond one-on-one meeting. We're all going to be heading over to our Discord. I'll be starting this Night Owl. It's going to be under Ruby and above. You can see we already got a couple people here. I'll be heading over there. It's going to start at around, I'd say, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is in about 25 minutes. So you guys can come in here now. Highly recommend it. And then if you guys would like to join our Discord, you're more than welcome to click the link in the description. But hopefully this helped out, guys. You know, we went through all the coins I wanted to go through other than XLM. I do want to do XLM really quick here because I already drew this out. Very similar to Litecoin in terms of Satoshi value. I'll kind of show you guys what I drew out earlier. We'll actually edit this a little bit. You can see these clear channels forming. What I'm most interested to see right now with Stellar in terms of Satoshi value is pulling up this 1 day. You can see how the 50-day and the 100-day is starting to catch up to these price levels, which I think are good. I think what we're eventually going to find is we're going to find, you can see we found perfect. Look at that. Look how beautiful that wicks is. Literally went right down to that 50-day. That's how important these indicators are, guys. Look how we went right down to that 50-day and bounced on. So I think we're going to start converging with that 50-day moving average, which would be really good because that would be a clear support line for XLM. And what this will do as it goes up is it will bring XLM's price up with it. So this could eventually start to see that support and horizontal pattern forming here, which I think it will eventually test these higher highs and eventually breaking out of this. And that's purely based on my fundamental analysis here and understanding moving average and seeing how it's starting to rise while RSI is starting to drop. So very good sign here. I think what you'll want to wait for on this on this 1 day chart is to see this price level kind of start to swing itself back in terms of the fast line here on the MACD. So that's what I would watch for here with XLM. And then looking at the immediate chart, like I said, if you compare this to Litecoin, it still needs a little bit more maturing because it's so stable. It's not that volatile, so less patterns to actually be formed. But you can see it's trading right along the channel. This would be a really good day trading channel, actually, in my opinion, because you can have these really clear levels of support and resistance. And the name of the game in day trading is volatility. I mean, that's where you really make the majority of your profits. And trading in general is all about volatility. That's what brought me to this market. So, yes. Somebody says you didn't give away the book. Yeah, so we'll do a book giveaway. So this will be open to all of our platforms: Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Somebody says India loves you. Thank you, brother. Thanks from India, Gurav. Somebody said mommy. Funny. So let's go ahead and, so the book giveaway Somebody says pink hair for 600 likes. Sure, if we hit 600 likes, we'll do pink hair. You guys are insane. And now the likes go up. It's such a phenomena. Oh, Mash, this actually might happen. That would not be good. Let's not do that pink hair. I'd rather do blonde. I think it'd be interesting to see blonde. It's such a phenomenon. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Some say I just signed up for Ruby Pledge on Patreon. Thank you for warning of a price increase. I've been thinking of joining for a few months now. Awesome, TPD. Good to have you, man. Perfect time, especially before the price move. Somebody says Naeem is my dad. Yo, you forgot Stellar. There's Stellar. So the book giveaway. So here's the question for the book giveaway. I actually started teaching something new without you guys really realizing it. I like to teach as I go. And if you guys don't know what I taught today, which I've never talked about. Actually, I talked about it yesterday. I introduced it yesterday. I taught it today. But what is, and this is going to be for, let me actually write this down here. So this is going to be for the Internet of Money. So it's going to be this book right over here. And it's a really good book by Andreas M. Amptemalas. I can't say his last name. But what is the end of this contracting falling wedge called right over here? It's a very general term, but it also defines this endpoint. And there's a name to it, and I talked about it today. I used it today. It's a term. Let's see who wins. This is open to all platforms, by the way. I'll just pick a random person here. All right. HCarV007 said Apex. Congratulations, brother. And then I'll pick somebody from YouTube. That's from Twitch. Send me a message on Twitter. And then Steven Muwara from YouTube. You won as well, brother. Good for you, Steven. Send me a message on Twitter and we'll go ahead and verify your YouTube channel and your Twitch for HCar. And you guys will get that book sent out to you. Congratulations, guys. We're going to be heading over here, Rubies and above. We're going to be doing a little private night owl or day owl. It's going to be under Ruby Plus. You can see we already got a ton of people here. We'll be just taking questions and interacting with you guys. It's going to be fun. And we can talk a little bit more about crypto, talk about some uncensored things and some stuff that I've learned here from some private masterminds that I've recently attended. And I hope you guys enjoyed this early live stream. Did you guys enjoy this? Somebody says, Tron, Apex, yes. Somebody says, I missed it. Nick Trees, no. Thanks, brother. Cryptic K11, Marshall White in the house. That cool kid, Nate on Twitch. JL, Eric Mora, Michael R, Justin Rogers, Randy Sullivan. Don't be a psycho. Apples Patrick, Mike123 is in the house. Adam C, Kelly Mullen said it's awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Mig Zakari said ADA. Senko 187. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Gurav. Thank you, Kelly. Awesome. Thank you, TP. Who else do we got here? Somebody said, how many likes to shave your eyebrows? You guys keep getting me. I'm going to have to reevaluate my negotiating skills here. Marshall White said I got a shout out. Yes, Adam C. Shout out to Adam and Omar. Thank you, Omar. All right, guys, we're heading over. Dante Martin said, can't wait for the blonde hair. Josh Massey, thanks for the video, Blondie. Oh, man. 24B Jones, very helpful. Awesome. Good. Nina, yes, I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night, LOL. That's good. I might do a surprise one tonight. Who knows? Thank you guys so much. By the way, we're looking for content creators that know technical analysis and are willing to do their own live streams. We're going to be trying to do constant live streams on this channel, 24 hours. And we're going to be experimenting with that. So if you do want to do that, go on general info opportunity, just make your first video of a price predictions video, kind of like how I do, doing your technical analysis. What I'm looking for is accuracy within your charts. I don't care about predictions. You never can predict anything. I know that, but I'm looking for accuracy because you can be very accurate with the way you draw your charts. And that's the key to technical analysis. So for those of you interested in that, highly recommend. That's an opportunity for you guys to possibly go full-time on YouTube as well. And that's kind of more of a long-term goal as we get more content creators and we build up rapport within the community and you guys are vetted out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Somebody says Miguel Belram. Yes, Sniper's out. So he says, you're the man with the plan, boy. Yes. Patreon is until 12 a.m. PST. No. Hey, number, check out Bab. Yes. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Awesome, guys. Let me say that's a great idea. Will there be any diamond or ruby subscription giveaway? Yeah, we'll do something like that. We're eventually going to do like sapphire and above night owls. Now that we have a lot more sapphires, it'll be a lot more exclusive, so it'll be cool. And then emerald and above night owls, diamond and above. So we'll do all of it. So he says, love your video. Can you please do it? All right, guys. See you, Rudy. All right, Gabriel. I'll see you there. Thank you guys for watching, and we're going to be talking about some awesome stuff tonight on the Ruby and Above Night Owl, or actually Day Owl. And I appreciate you guys watching this video today. And yeah, thank you guys. Snipers out.